Hi, I'm Patrick Dunnican. At Gibbons, we believe that citizens need to be informed about the complex issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., RWJ Barnabas Health, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, PSC&G, committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future. Rowan University, educating New Jersey leaders, partnering with New Jersey businesses, transforming New Jersey's future. International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825. And by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Your future is in our building. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ. And by Meadowlands Chamber, building connections, driving business growth.
Welcome to State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. We're coming to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio in Newark. We're honored to be joined once again by the President of the State Senate of New Jersey, Steve Sweeney. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Steve.
Thank you for joining us. Last time you were here, you talked about the fact that you were forming a task force to look at state spending in the state. That task force met many times, came out with a series of recommendations. You want to go through some of them?
Yeah, Steve, you know, it's wide range. You know, we have to focus on new pension plans, new health care plans, trying to streamline our schools.
Employees.
Public employees, yeah, because that's who's paying who's paying that. We are taxpayers, and we're really at a point where you can't raise taxes anymore. We're taxed out in this state.
Can't.
We need to fix. We need to fix now.
What about the governor comes here next month or so on State of Affairs and says, you know what? I'd rather not raise taxes again, but you know what? We got to find new revenue to support the programs that the people of New Jersey want. You say?
Well, then we have to reform government to find the money. That's what I say. We have to fix this place, Steve. Look, last year there was $1.5 billion tax increase. That's way too much, and I went along with it because half of it's going to go away in a few years.
Hold on one second. The taxes were raised not on millionaires, but on people who earn over $5 million a year income tax. You went along with that because?
Well, as part of trying to get a budget done, I don't like any of it, to be perfectly honest with you. I want to fix what's going on here. We're overtaxed in this state. And now now that we did this, now's our opportunity to focus on how we fix New Jersey. And fixing New Jersey is doing government differently. You know, Steve, we have so many school districts in the state of New Jersey. And you have, you know, K-4, K-6, K-8. When we were talking to former Commissioner Lucille Davey, we found out, most important—
Commissioner of Education?
Former Commissioner of Education, Lucille Davey, that those schools don't always coordinate curriculum with the high school where they're sending the kids. So if you have a regional high school, you may have 5 schools going to that regional high school, all teaching different history, teaching different math. So these kids are at different levels when they get there. In fact, talking to some of the superintendents, they can't even get their local regional, the elementaries, to coordinate schedules. So, like, if you have a kid in high school, you know, you might have one kid in high school off one day. And long story short, if we were to eliminate the K-4, K-6, K-8 districts and put them into a K-12—
Consolidate?
Yeah. We would go from 600 school districts to 320. And we're not talking about taking the kids out of the buildings where they're at. We're talking about improving the quality of education, number one.
Right.
That's the most important thing. And there'll be savings that go along with it. So, you know, look, I grew up in a K-12, you know, district where I grew up in Pennsauken when I was growing up. There's nothing wrong with that. And we're not talking about pulling kids from out of their schools. You know, Johnny will still have the same 4th grade history teacher if they're in East Greenwich. But there won't be an administration there besides
an infrastructure, a bureaucracy.
Yeah, you'll have a principal, but that's it.
So let's go through this. By the way, we're talking to State Senate President Steve Sweeney. This is State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. There's a task force that was put together, came through with a whole series of recommendations. Real quick, you talked about the state employees, health and pension benefits. We had actually the folks, the leaders of the NJEA, and they said, you know what, we cut this deal with, the public employees cut a deal with the Murphy administration, and we are giving up more when it comes to health benefits, and we're saving $500 million. And I think you're saying, what?
Steve, they're 2 years late to the dance. The public employees, the regular public employees, state employees, made these changes to their health plan 2 years ago. And they saw decreases in their contributions. The leaders in the NJEA, by not getting on with things and moving forward, a teacher was paying $2,000 a year for a family plan more than a public employee because they didn't want to make changes. And oh, by the way, there's a lot more that needs to be done. So we can invest in education, so we can invest in higher ed, so we can invest in pre-K. Right now, all we're doing is funding. I'll give you an example. The growth in the state of New Jersey is going to be completely eaten up by the health care and the pension costs this year. So if we get $1.1 billion in new growth, new dollars, and brand new dollars, it all gets eaten up there. Now I got to fund New Jersey Transit. Now I got to fund pre-K. Now I got to fund schools. I got to fund high schools. There's no money for that. It's all being eaten up, period, by pension and health care.
By the way, you mentioned pre-K. I know there's universal pre-K initiative that has gone a long way in the state. We're involved in an initiative that folks who watch this series know. It's called Right from the Start NJ. You're going to see the website up right now. Go on. There's articles there. There's past segments we've done on this. It deals with 0 to 3 children, infants and toddlers, and also prenatal care. Where are we, Senator Sweeney, and where do we need to be in terms of what the state's contribution and role here is? And it seems to me you just said money ain't there.
But we need to make the right investments. Steve, we can't just fund government. We need to fund programs that are going to help children be better citizens as they grow up. You know, Senator Teresa Ruiz, who's head of our education...
Senator Teresa Ruiz is right here. By the way, check that website out. You'll see that interview. She talked about this here. She's also a pretty new mom.
Yeah, and you know something? But she and I both agree we should be taking children from birth, educating children from birth. My daughter has Down syndrome. You know that. Well, we had early intervention when she was 5 weeks old. She was learning. A brain develops, 85% of your brain develops from birth to 5 years old. The earlier you get kids, the smarter, the better, the more adapted, the more adjusted they're going to be in life. So that's a wonderful program, and it's a goal. Now, I would rather be investing in those things. I want to promise I want to keep the pensions that we owe our workers, but I need a new pension system for the state. Moving forward, we need a new system.
With new employees?
Yes. Keep the promise you made to the employees that are working right now. Don't break that promise. But understand, we can't tax our way out of this problem. We're going to be billions of dollars short, Steve.
Let's go move to this. By the way, Senate President Steve Sweeney is here. I'm Steve Adubato. This is State of Affairs. This task force that the Senate President actually talked about right here on State of Affairs that a lot of people are reporting on, we're trying to make sense of. New toll roads with, quote, express lanes.
Steve, they're called hot lanes. And they're brand new lanes that are added, additional lanes that are added on federal highways, which is 78 and 80. Now, you know, up here, they're parking lots. So if you choose to get on one of these express lanes, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for it. It would be privately developed, or with the Turnpike could even build them if they want it. But it would be an option for someone if they wanted to not sit in the parking lot.
And the revenue goes?
And the revenue would go to pay for the roads that were built, and there would be additional revenue that would come to the state of New Jersey. We would get a piece of the revenue. We would get a piece, the state of New Jersey. So basically, you're building more capacity, which for even the people that can't afford, there'd be less traffic on 78 and 80 because you'd have other people taking these other roads. You'd improve, you know, obviously, if you have more lanes, traffic's going to flow better. And if people want to pay a premium for that, they've done it in other states, Maryland and Virginia, and it works.
Senator, let me ask you this. The second half of this program, we'll be joined, Jackie Wright, by the Assembly Republican leader, Jon Bramnick. He was actually here. We taped it earlier, and he was talking about the fact that he felt he had a strong, constructive, productive relationship with you. He talked about where he agreed with some of these task force recommendations and where he doesn't. Yeah. But there's a larger point. I had a detailed conversation with him, and you can check that out if you haven't seen it yet, about the tone and tenor of politics in this nation and how polarized and how divisive we are. You say?
But not here in New Jersey.
Really?
Really?
We're that much different? Respectfully, Senate President Sweeney, you think family members and others are able, friends are having comfortable, honest conversations with each other about where they are politically because we're in Jersey?
No, but what I'm talking about is elected officials.
You mean the leaders?
The leaders. Like Jon Bramnick is a dear friend of mine, and I respect the hell out of him.
He's a Republican.
It's
Does
okay.
that even matter to you?
No, because you can't accomplish anything meaningful in this state with just trying to do it in a partisan way. You know, I need Tom Kean to work with me. I need
Republican
Jon Bramnick.
Senator Tom Kean.
You know, I need Jon Bramnick. I need Craig Coughlin. We need to work together. We need the governor. It can't be a partisan issue because the easy things are easy. These are hard things, which means you need to be able to cross over the aisle, join hand in hand, and move forward with the tough things. Because it's just too easy, Steve.
What don't they understand in Washington, D.C., Senator?
Well, what's happened, Steve? The parties have just driven everybody to the left and to the right. And unfortunately, 80% of us are in the middle.
Can't put this all on Donald Trump.
No, I put it on the parties. I blame the parties. The parties are getting so polarized. You know, the Republicans have the Tea Party and the Democrats have the Progressive Party. And they don't,
or the, quote, Socialist Party.
Or Democrat Socialist,
right?
And the biggest problem is they think compromise is a bad thing. I think compromise is how you get things done. And again, in New Jersey, we respect each other. Even when we fight, it's respectful, and we try to work together. You know, you just had Kip Bateman in here.
Yeah, Senator Kip Bateman on another program, Republican.
Dear friend of mine, respect the hell out of him.
In Somerset County.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, this whole, by the way, real quick on Donald Trump, policy aside, what do you say to those who say, listen, I agree with a lot of his policies. They've helped the country. Our economy is strong. There are more jobs than ever. His demeanor, style as a leader, dare I say, trump that?
I think that what the president has done to this country is destroying it. It's tearing it apart at its fabric. And the economy is, they just said, corporations had the largest buyback of stocks ever in the history of this nation, and that's because Donald Trump's tax cut. It didn't get to the workers. It did, you know, there's some of it, like 6% of it got to the workers. And it was normally in bonuses, not even put in the base pay. Steve, this president is so decisive, and it's scary because it's the people that are unwilling to give are running this country now.
I'm sorry for getting so national. I'll bring it back to our mandate in New Jersey. New Jersey Transit, give me 30 seconds. Where are we? Where do we need to go?
Look, we have a bill in the Senate that we passed that we hope the Assembly will be passing pretty soon. Loretta Weinberg sponsored.
Senator Weinberg.
And it actually creates a lot more transparency, adds members to the board. At New Jersey Transit, has the meetings in the evening, not during the day. And look, it didn't break overnight. It's going to take time to fix it. This is beyond Christie into Corzine, maybe even into McGreevey. It's been bad.
Let's do this. Senate President Steve Sweeney in the House, Steve Adubato here. Let's talk about real quick. We had Senator Joseph Vitale talking about the pedophilia crisis, if you will, in the Catholic Church, wanting to expand the statute of limitations, lift it, right, and change it so that people who say they were abused by a priest at some point, they could bring it up at whatever point. There's legislation about that, you say?
We're working with Senator Vitale to figure out the legislation we can get passed in both houses and signed by the governor. You know, Steve, there's no room in this world for anybody abusing a child. There's no room in this world.
You think the Catholic Church, you're Catholic, I'm Catholic, you know?
It's not just the Catholic Church, Steve.
Well, on this one, though, respectfully, Senator, do you think the Catholic Church has handled this in any way that should keep government out of it?
No, but like, listen, but it's not, I'm telling you, government's got concerns with this too.
What do you
School
mean?
Districts, school boards. Listen, when this bill comes up, we have
with abuse of
we have government entities are concerned about crafting a bill where the governments can be sued, you know, forever.
School districts as well?
Yeah.
So that's what you mean by not just the church?
Yes. It's towns, it's counties, it's school districts. There's all, we've heard all from all these people. Look, we got to make sure we do what's right for the abused, from the person that's abused. That's where you start.
Last question. I'm curious about this. You and Governor Murphy, we're not a show about politics or inside the Beltway, if you will. Constructive, meaningful dialogue going on between you about the issues that matter most?
Yeah, listen, if people looked at the body of the work that we did, we got a lot accomplished. Did we fight? Yeah, we fought. Democrats fight, Steve.
You fought with Chris Christie.
I fought. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm Irish and Italian. I fight publicly. I don't hide anything. You know. And listen. And when I think he's right, I'm going to be with him. When I don't agree with him, I'm not going to agree. Look, we're working on marijuana right now. We're working real hard on marijuana. We want to get a minimum wage bill done. You know. So there's things we're working.
Is that going to happen?
We'll get them done. We'll get them done. But again, it's going to be a compromise. It's not going to be all my way or no way.
It's not a bad word.
No, I believe in compromise.
Senate President Steve Sweeney believes in compromise, and I look forward to the conversation as we move forward. And by the way, we will hopefully be joined by Governor Phil Murphy in our next taping, and I'll have a chance to talk about how he sees the future of New Jersey. But as always, as Senate President Steve Sweeney, I want to thank you for joining us on State of Affairs,
Steve.
as always.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Steve Adubato, State of Affairs. Check us out after this.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Back by popular demand, State of Affairs welcomes State Assemblyman Jon Bramnick. He's a Republican. He admits it. He's also the leader of the Republican Party in the State Assembly, serving for how long?
15 years.
You are an attorney as well. You are also the only member of the state legislature doing stand-up on a regular basis, stand-up comedy, correct?
I'm the only one doing comedy outside of Trenton.
Would it work there? Is it a good audience?
No.
They don't get it?
No.
They're not that
It's
funny.
not a bunch of funny people.
They're not,
No.
okay.
I mean, some of the legislation's funny, but...
Okay, let's talk about not some... Hey, this isn't funny. Steve Adubato here, more importantly, Jon Bramnick here. New Jersey Transit. People waiting for trains that don't come. People not told, hey, that train's not coming. People who are supposed to be the engineer, what are they called? Conductors, right? You can tell I haven't taken a train in a while. Hey, we're not coming into work today. Crisis?
Yeah, it's a crisis because lack of information. The most important thing, people can take almost anything if they know what's happening. And with all due respect, the last 7 or 8 months, there's been no information. Look, if there's not going to be a train, as long as I know the night before, I can make arrangements. But 5 minutes before it doesn't come, no good.
Why do you think that happens?
Well, a lot of reasons. I asked the director, and I said, what's
Of
the
New
story?
Jersey Transit.
Yeah, I said, what's the deal with the contract? You mean an engineer can just call up 5 minutes before and not show up? He goes, well. I didn't get a real answer, but I'm afraid that the system is, there's not much notice needed when an engineer doesn't show up, and that's got to be changed.
Well, I want to clarify. Is an engineer a conductor?
No, I think a conductor is a fellow who walks through the train.
Okay, I get
I think
that.
the engineer drives the train. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I think so.
I just want to clarify that.
We got the wrong person to do the
show my
clarification.
ignorance right here on public television. How about this? Closer to home? Well, it's not closer to home, but it matters. There are many have said, you've said it as well, we don't get our fiscal house in order in the state of New Jersey. We don't get a second shot at this. Senate President Steve Sweeney actually will be joining us in the studio here at NJTV in Newark in just a little bit today. Series of recommendations after a task force he put together looked at this. He said, you know what, we need to do a bunch of things. We need to merge, consolidate school districts. We need to dramatically change tax policy. We need to do a whole bunch of things. You like it?
Well, most of those I do. Consolidating school districts has one danger. If you make a county school district, you may not be able to go to your local school. You may just have 3 choices, and you may not get your first choice, which if you live in Westfield and they do a county school,
right,
you may go 10 miles away to Linden.
You don't like that?
Well, you want to merge school districts, just be careful. As long as you get the chance, as long as you get the opportunity to go to your local school, I'm good. The other things are all excellent.
Name some of the ones you like.
Well, you got to do pension reform, you got to do health care benefit reform, and here's the deal. 5 years from now, it's going to get done. It's just a question. Government only does it in a crisis.
You're talking about public employees.
Well,
You're talking about changing the public employee arrangement with the state of New Jersey, Assemblyman Jon Bramnick, as it relates to health care benefits and pension benefits, correct?
Before it goes broke, because it's going to go broke. Okay, so you can either address it now or you can address it 6, 7 years from now. But anyone on Wall Street, any analyst will tell you the system will fail. Period. End of story. So fine, you want to wait 7 years and do it? I'm good. It's better for me. Actually, it's better for me politically to ignore the issue.
I mean, as a Republican.
No, I have to tell you, every politician who goes out there and says, I want reforms, I want reforms, public unions are going to say like this, he's the bad guy.
But Assemblyman, respectfully, as we are taping today, Governor Phil Murphy announced an agreement with the public employee unions to significantly save millions, potentially billions of dollars by renegotiating, by putting those items back on the table, the health care benefits, pension contributions, particularly for future employees. How could you say that public employees are not making changes along with this administration.
Well, there were some slight changes done by the governor, okay? And
Which is a good thing, no?
Well, we're going to have to do an hour show on what those changes were. But yeah, yes, it's a good thing to start to address it. But it doesn't affect over $100 billion in debt that's owed by this state. It could be up more than $140 billion in debt. Our budget's only $37 billion.
Are you talking about unfunded liability of the pension?
Exactly. So this minor step forward is a good step, but it's far short of what's needed. So what I'm saying is we need a whole show on, and those changes, some of those changes, you have to look behind that curtain a little bit. And we have to talk about that at length.
We will have also today, boy, there's some great people coming in today, including the leaders of the New Jersey Education Association, public employees greatly affected by that deal. Hey, you don't like Donald Trump, do you?
Let me tell you, what I don't
He's the leader of your party.
Well, no.
Yes, he is.
No, wait a minute. I became a Republican in this state because people like Tom Kean Sr., people like George Bush I. I'm going to tell you, now we're going to get away from policy for a minute. So there's but personality-wise, you have to respect other people. And in my judgment, you have to have empathy for other people. And my concern is that I don't see the empathy that I want as a Republican leader. And I'm going to say it, and I don't care the consequences of that. That's different than policy. Policy, meeting with North Korea or trying to build relationships with the Soviet Union makes some sense. But treat people with respect, show some civility. And my concern is that's not good for the party.
Why do you think some believe, many believe, that President Trump has a hard time, quote unquote, taking the high road? And also, let's try this. As we do this program, he recently said, you know what? I don't believe 3,000 people died in this horrific situation last year in Puerto Rico. I think the Democrats are involved in a conspiracy. I don't think John McCain, who, a war hero, buried service to this country, United States Senate, 6 years or so in a prisoner of war camp. He wasn't a war hero. I respect people who were not caught versus people who were caught. You hear that. You ask yourself, he's the leader of the Republican Party. He's the leader of our nation. No, he is.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't respect those comments, and I've spoken out about those comments.
The vast majority of Republicans supported them in spite of it.
Well, look,
and support him today in spite of it.
I'm going to do what I think is right. I was the leader of the civility movement 15 years ago, and I'm not going to put away my moral commitment because someone's the president of the United States. But let's separate. You want to talk about policy, or you want to talk about how he acts?
I'm talking about demeanor and leadership style.
I don't like his demeanor.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I think it's dangerous. I think it sets in motion the ability for people to attack each other.
Yeah.
I don't like it. You want to go to civility? Go to George Bush I. Go to the first, or go to Tom Kean
Sr.
Sr.
Obama.
Look,
civil.
Look,
civility.
I'm the
Even if you disagree with his
Republican
policies.
leader in the House. I stand for the Republicans in New Jersey, and as far as I'm concerned, that lack of civility is not what I like.
One quick on policy. I can't believe that you are supportive of the idea of the federal government through the recent tax changes in Washington saying, we're capping state and local deductions, meaning your property tax, your state income tax,
I'm not
10
supportive
grand.
of it.
That's the deal.
I'm not supportive
Why would they
of
have
it.
done that? And could that have anything to do with the fact that Democrats, in fact, or those who are in New Jersey voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016? Or is it some sort of grander fiscal tax policy plan on the part of Republicans?
I think most of the country liked it. It was really bad.
What did it do for New Jersey?
It hurt New Jersey, in my judgment.
Because we can't deduct our taxes beyond 10 grand.
Absolutely. And the whole argument is, well, we should lower our taxes.
That's what a lot of your friends say.
But, yes, if you want to give New Jersey 10 years to do that, and you want to phase out a property deduction, I might be with you. But when you do it overnight, in my judgment, it's punitive to this state. I don't support it. I said I don't support it. Look, just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you like everything a Republican does. Generally, I believe in less government, and then people should have freedom. That's the kind of Republican I'm, and I'm not going to defend every Republican, including the president.
I say Phil Murphy, Governor Phil Murphy. You say?
I think he's very, very, very liberal to the point where, well, here's my concern. You have to recognize the fiscal problems in the state. Okay. Now, he made a slight move the other day, but I truly believe,
with the unions, public
yes,
unions.
but I truly believe that he's a big government leader. And if you like that, it's fine. I believe that we've got a serious crisis fiscally, and I don't think that that's what he focuses on.
Do you think he's focused enough on, I got about 30 seconds left, on the need to cut spending?
No, of course not. Not when you do a $1.4 billion tax increase. You ask me, is he concerned about spending? Obviously not. Now, I think, one, he really believes it. I think he's not really a politician. I think he truly, deeply believes what he's doing. I think he's...
Can I give him credit for that?
Absolutely.
But...
I disagree with him. When did this become personal?
No, but what's the problem with that real quick is?
The problem is we can't afford it. We got to compete with other states. We have to bring businesses in here. We got to keep people from leaving. How many people are leaving this state because it's too expensive? He does not recognize that, but he's a nice man.
Every time, Steve Adubato here, every time we have State Assemblyman Jon Bramnick, he's engaging, he's interesting, he's informative, and
funny.
You can catch his stand-up, go on his website, find out what he's doing. And thank you, John.
Thank
all
you
the best.
so much.
As always, appreciate it.
Thanks.
This is State of Affairs. Steve Adubato. Catch you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., RWJ Barnabas Health, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, PSE&G, Rowan University, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey.
PSE&G is building New Jersey's clean energy future. We're working to protect our network against extreme weather, expanding and upgrading transmission lines, and modernizing our natural gas system by installing new, more durable underground pipes. At PSE&G, our goal is to make sure you have the safe, reliable energy you need to power your life now and into the future.